right. I am here. Steve Cully, the best podcast host in the universe, and right now the only one. Coach Schumann is incapacitated, so we're going to get rolling on Bloodlines and Betrayals. Yes, it is the best true crime show out there. And I am going to host while Dave ignores me, as usual. So today we are going back in history, my friends. Little history lesson here. We are going to talk about Alexander Hamilton and his death in the duel that took place on July 11th, 1804. The duel was a culmination of a bitter rivalry that had developed over years between both men, who were high-profile politicians in the newly established United States, founded following the victorious American Revolutionary War. And it's obviously one of the most famous duels in American history. I wonder if I can challenge someone to a duel today. Can I go up to someone and say, I challenge you to a duel, sir? And they'll just give me a gun and let us go at it? Because it was like a high profile thing. It was like a gentleman's thing back then. But it was a big deal. So the background, the duel was the final skirmish of a long conflict between Democratic Republicans and Federalists. The conflict began in 1791 when Aaron Burr, won a United States Senate seat from Philip Schuyler. Hamilton's father-in-law would have supported Federalist policies. Hamilton was the U.S. Secretary of Treasury at the time. The Electoral College actually deadlocked during the 1800 presidential election, during which Hamilton's maneuvering in the U.S. House of Representatives played a factor in Thomas Jefferson winning the presidency over Burr. So at the time, the candidate who received the most votes was obviously elected president, and the candidate with the second most votes became vice president. That is how our country operated and started things in the beginning. They weren't technically allowed to choose a running mate. They kind of got stuck with who they got stuck with. So there were only proto-political policies at the time, as President Washington had lamented in his farewell address in 1796, and joint tickets had not become a feature of elections like they are now. Hamilton's animosity towards Burr was severe and documented in personal letters to his friend and compatriot, James McHenry. In an 1801 letter to McHenry, Hamilton wrote, "Nothing has given me so much chagrin as the intelligence that the federal party were thinking seriously of supporting Mr. Burr for president. I should consider the execution of the plan as devoting the country and signing their own death warrant." Wow. Mr. Burr will probably make stipulations, but he will laugh in his sleeve while he makes them and will break them the first moment it may serve his purpose. Hamilton details the many charges that he has against Burr in a more extensive letter written shortly afterward, calling Burr profile gate voluptuary in the extreme. Voluptuary in the extreme. I wonder what that is. Accusing him of corruptly serving the interests of the Holland Land Company while a member of the legislature, criticizing his military commission, accusing him of resigning it under false pretenses and other serious accusations. It became clear Jefferson was going to drop Burr from his ticket in the 1804 presidential election. Burr chose to run for governorship of New York instead. He was backed by members of the Federalist Party and was under the patronage of Tammany Hall in the 1804 New York gubernatorial election. Look at the enunciation on that one. Hamilton campaigned vigorously against Burr, causing him to lose the election to Morgan Lewis, a Clintorian Democratic Republican Hamilton had endorsed. Hey, Coach Schumann!
Yo, did you start with me sleeping?
Yes. Yeah, of course. I couldn't wake you up. I tried. I called. I wanted to start. So
left me off the pod.
Oh, I wouldn't do that to you. You're critical. I don't know this story like you. So that's why I needed your input. This was a big deal. And I wondered today, like, can I challenge someone to a duel? Like if I want to challenge Tyler King to a duel, can I do that?
I think that would be outlawed.
I think that would be outlawed.
I think it's I don't know if a duel per se is against the law.
I thought it's like a gentleman's thing, like a duel.
It was originally.
Like that's how they settle like disagreements, was a duel.
Yes, so, that's how it was.
So yeah, I would want to have a duel with Tyler King. Can we set that up? Do I just have to
you'd have to have a gun.
Well, I'll get a gun. I'll get a gun, and I will challenge Tyler. I will say, Tyler King, I challenge you to a duel. And if he accepts, it's on, right?
Yeah,
it's all legal.
Yeah,
it's all legal. So it's amazing that they had this level of animosity towards each other.
Are not legal. They are typically an assault. And
it is an assault. Okay. All right. So I can't change.
Back in the day, there were ways for individuals to settle disputes, often involving matters of honor.
Right. Right.
By specific rules and procedures, such as code duello.
Right. Right. So it was like an elite thing, high society. It was how they settled disagreements.
I challenge you to a duel.
Yes, I challenge you to a duel. So this is even funnier. Both men had been involved in duels in the past. Hamilton had been involved in more than a dozen affairs of honor, as they say, prior to his fatal encounter with Burr, including disputes with William Gordon, Adonis Burke, John Francis Mercer, James Nicholson, James Monroe, who I believe was a president, Ebenezer Purdy, George Clinton. He also served as a second to John Laurens in a 1779 duel with General Charles Lee, and to a legal client, John Iudo, in a 1787 duel with William Pierce. Hamilton also claimed that he won previous honor disputes with Burr, while Burr stated there were two. So Alexander Hamilton was well versed in duels. He had a lot of experience, and he represented people involved with them. He knew the procedures. Like if we were betting on this, if we could go to like DraftKings and bet on the Alexander Hamilton Aaron Burr duel, Hamilton would probably be the favorite. He'd probably be like what, minus 200.
Well, I thought Aaron Burr had already won a duel in the past.
He did. He just didn't have the same experience level as
that Alexander Hamilton had.
Correct. Yes. So now this also played a part in it. Hamilton's son Philip was killed in an 1801 duel with George Ecker, which was initiated after Philip and his friend Richard Price engaged in hooliganish behavior in Ecker's box at the Park Theater in Manhattan. So that blows my mind. This is a kid.
You're a hooligan.
He was screwing around during a theater, and the guy challenged him to a duel and killed him. Like, wow.
Are you stop being a hooligan?
Yeah.
I challenge you to a duel.
I love the speech back then. He's a hooligan. Philip and his friend, and
maybe
it was
that
actually
would eliminate a lot more crime.
It would. It would eliminate a lot more crime. You're right. Yes, it would eliminate.
You hooligans robbing that woman over there. I challenge you to a duel.
You are absolutely right. If they had duels today, that would definitely reduce crime, because nobody would mess with anyone if there was a chance that a duel could be had and they could die. But what's interesting about this, Alexander Hamilton's son Philip and his friend both challenged Ecker to duels when he called them, quote unquote, damned rascals. Damned rascals is the term that set off Philip and his friend. Out of all names to be called, you get called a damned rascal, and that's it.
Damned rascals!
I want you damned rascals.
Put yourselves under control.
So this duel actually happened in Jersey. Do you know where Weehawken, New Jersey is?
Yes, of course.
Oh, okay. Is it like a prominent city?
Right above the Lincoln Tunnel.
Okay. So the duel happened, and it resulted nothing more than 4 missed shots. And Hamilton advised his son to delope. I have no idea what delope means. Does that mean run away? I don't know. But Hamilton's son and Ecker stood shotless for a minute after the command present. Then Philip leveled his pistol, causing Ecker to fire, mortally wounding Philip and sending his shot awry. The later duel between Burr and Hamilton took place near the spot of the duel between his son and Ecker. So that was really the trigger for Hamilton. He was upset that his son was murdered in a duel, and he actually advised his son to surrender, I guess, after he missed 4 shots during the duel. So Burr and Hamilton came to a public opposition during the 1800 United States presidential election. Burr and Thomas Jefferson ran for president on the Democratic Republican Party ticket against incumbent John Adams. And the basically the Electoral College rules at the time gave each elector 2 votes for president, and the candidate who received the second most votes became vice president. You remember back then that's how they did things?
Yes, I did.
You weren't allowed to pick your ticket. It was first and second.
Yep.
So the Democratic Republican Party planned to have 72 of their 73 electors vote for Jefferson and Burr, with the remaining elector voting only for Jefferson. The electors failed to execute this plan. Burr and Jefferson tied at 73 votes each. It was like the first time ever. The Constitution stipulated if 2 candidates with an electoral college majority were tied, the election, or I remember this because they talked about it when Al Gore ran for president and with Bush in 2000. Remember, the Florida votes had to be recounted and everything. They didn't know who won, and they thought it could have been a tie. So I didn't know this. The House of Representatives makes the decision if there's a tie. And the House at this time was controlled by the Federalists. At this point, many of whom were both, they didn't want to vote for Jefferson. Although Hamilton had a long-standing rivalry with Jefferson, stemming from their tenure as members of George Washington's cabinet. He regarded Burr as far more dangerous and used his influence to ensure Jefferson's election. On the 36th ballot, the House of Representatives gave Jefferson the presidency, and Burr became vice president. So this contention, went on for a very, very long time. They did not like each other. They did not like working together. Hamilton wrote letters complaining about Burr and just saying he was trouble. Okay. So then what happened? Burr, after the vice presidential thing, like I said, he ran for, he wanted to be the governor of New York.
Yep.
So the Albany Register published a letter opposing Burr's gubernatorial candidacy, which was originally sent from Charles D. Cooper to Hamilton's father-in-law, former Senator Philip Schuyler, and made reference to a previous statement by Cooper. General Hamilton and Judge Kent have declared in substance that they looked upon Mr. Burr to be a dangerous man and one not to be trusted with the reins of government. Cooper went on to emphasize that
he was considered, Aaron Burr was considered a New York, corruptive, like a not a good guy.
So he's like Chuck Schumer, basically.
I think he's in the Republican. Well, no, back then it wasn't.
It was
on the conservative side. He was on the states' right side. I want to say.
I think he was a. They said there was a Democratic Republican Party and a Federalist Party. I think those were the two that they mentioned.
Right. I don't know.
So Burr replied to the letter stating political opposition can never absolve gentlemen from the necessity of a rigid adherence to the laws of honor and the rules of decorum. Hamilton replied that he had no other answer to give than what he's already said. That Burr is dangerous and he should not hold any power. So Burr ended up losing the election.
Right.
So what happened was
disrespected, right?
Oh, he was furious. He felt he felt insulted, attacked, disrespected, and they, singled him out like he was a martyr.
Right.
So basically, Burr issued a formal challenge to Hamilton for the duel, and he accepted. Many historians have considered the causes of the duel to be flimsy and have thus characterized Hamilton as suicidal, Burr as malicious and murderous.
Yes, that exactly.
That's crazy to me. But I mean, how can you say Hamilton's suicidal when, he was involved in 12 duels in the past.
Right.
So he clearly doesn't give a shit. Like, he'll go and he'll do it. So maybe he does have a death wish.
Death wish.
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe he has a death wish.
But that's crazy. But they, Thomas Fleming offers the theory Burr was really attempting to recover his honor by challenging Hamilton, who he considered to be the only gentleman among his detractors in response to the slanderous attacks against his character that were published during the gubernatorial campaign. Hamilton's reasons for not engaging in a duel included his roles as a father, husband, putting his creditors at risk, placing his family's welfare in jeopardy, but he felt that it would be impossible to avoid a duel because he made so many attacks on Burr that he was unable to come back from it. He couldn't recant. He couldn't apologize. He bashed this guy so much that he really thought, like, I can't say no. I have to go through with it. I've just come after this guy so much. He attempted to reconcile his moral and religious reasons and the codes of honor in politics. Joanne Freeman speculated Hamilton intended to accept the duel and throw away his shot in order to satisfy his moral and political codes. So I can't believe this actually happens.
Isn't that amazing?
It is amazing because both men are involved in government. You're talking about a vice president. Hamilton, I believe they said he was the Secretary of Treasury. I think he may have been either a senator or a congressman, but these are, it would be like Bernie Sanders challenging someone to a duel. Chuck Schumer challenging Bernie Sanders to a duel, something like that. Guys who are not.
You okay?
Yeah. Guys who are not like criminals.
Right.
These are well-respected men of government.
They're in the central government.
Like that's what blows my mind. It'd be like Nancy Pelosi challenging someone to a duel. And I just can't believe that it was allowed to happen. And it was a form to settle disagreements. I'll look it up. I'd love to know how long it was allowed for. But in the morning of July 11th, 1804, Burr and Hamilton departed from Manhattan in boats. They rowed across the Hudson River to the spot known as the Heights of Weehawken, New Jersey, which you said Now, this was a popular dueling ground below towering cliffs of the Palisades. And I didn't know this either. Dueling had been prohibited in New York and New Jersey, but Hamilton and Burr agreed to go to Weehawken because New Jersey was not as aggressive as New York in prosecuting dueling participants. And this same site was used for 18 duels. So this is where they go. They both get on boats and they go to this place in Weehawken in New Jersey to have the duel because whatever happens, they're not going to get prosecuted for it. So that just blows my mind. They had the pistols transported to the island, enabling the rowers to say under oath that they had not seen any pistols. They stood with their backs to each other. Okay. So I just can't believe this actually happened. These two esteemed men stood back to back with guns. Burr, William Peter Van Ness, his second, Matthew L. Davis, another man often identified as John Swarthout, and the rowers all reached the site at 6:30 a.m. They cleared the underbrush under the dueling ground. Hamilton arrived with his posse a few minutes before 7. Lots were cast for the choice of position and which second should start the duel. Both were won by Hamilton's second, who chose the upper edge of the ledge for Hamilton facing the city. So this is crazy. So you bring your posse and they decide the spots. I'm going to start here. You're going to start here. They flip a coin or whatever to do it. However, Joseph Ellis claims Hamilton had been challenged, and therefore, if you're challenged, you had the choice of both the weapon and the position. Under this account, Hamilton himself chose the upstream or the north side position. So this is where there's some discrepancies. First-hand accounts of the duel agree 2 shots were fired, but some say only Burr was the one who fired. And the seconds disagreed on the intervening time between them. It was common for both principals in the duel to deliberately miss or fire their shots into the ground to exemplify courage, a practice known as deloping. So basically, to show you're a badass, your first shot, you fire it into the ground to say, go ahead, shoot me. There's no way you're going to miss. I just shot it into the ground. You're up. Take your best shot. Like, I can't imagine that. I can't imagine doing that. Would you do that?
A duel?
No, the fire the first shot into the ground, because each person fires a shot, and it said that some people would fire their first shot into the ground basically to show they're a badass, and then give the other man the opportunity to shoot because you believe that they're going to miss. So that's what they said kind of happened. Hamilton fired the shot into the ground. So what happened was the duel could have come to an end. Hamilton apparently fired a shot above Burr's head. Burr then returned fire, hit Hamilton in the lower abdomen above the right hip. Because back then, remember, the bullets, they were large caliber lead balls. It ricocheted off of Hamilton's third and second false rib, fracturing it, causing considerable damage to his internal organs, particularly his liver, diaphragm, before lodging in his first or second lumbar vertebrae. According to a man Pendleton, his account, Hamilton collapsed almost immediately, dropping the pistol involuntarily, and then Burr moved towards him in a speechless manner, which Pendleton deemed to be indicative of regret, before being hustled away behind an umbrella by Van Ness, who was on his team, because Husick and the rowers were already approaching. So they tried to get him out of there. It's entirely uncertain which principal fired first, as both seconds backs were to the duel in accordance to the prearranged regulations, so that they could testify that they saw no fire. After a lot of research was done to determine the actual events of the duel, historian Joseph Ellis believes Hamilton did fire his weapon intentionally.
Why am I frozen?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't know you were frozen. I'm sorry. You coming back? There we go. There you are.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Good.
Okay. So Hamilton did fire his weapon intentionally, and he fired first, but he aimed to miss Burr, sending his ball into the tree above and behind Burr's location. In doing so, he did not withhold his shot, but he wasted it, thereby honoring his pre-duel pledge, because he had said, like, he had so much to worry about. He's worried about his family. He's worried about creditors. He has kids. He doesn't want to die. So he said he was going to miss purposely because he really didn't want this to go as far as it did. Meanwhile, Burr, he didn't know about this pledge. He did know that the projectile from Hamilton's gun had whizzed by his head and crashed into the tree. According to the principles of the code Duello, Burr was perfectly justified in taking aim, firing at Hamilton to kill. So that was one account. So then David Husick had another account, and this is a little bit different. When called to him upon receiving the fatal wound, I found Hamilton half sitting on the ground, supported in the arms of Mr. Pendleton, his countenance of death I shall never forget. He had, at that instant, just the strength to say, "This is a mortal wound, doctor." When he sunk away and he became to appear lifeless, I immediately stripped up his clothes soon, alas, I ascertained that the direction of the ball must have been through some vital organs. His pulses, he couldn't feel. His respiration was entirely suspended, and he put his hand on his heart, and there was no beating. There was no motion. I considered him as irrevocably gone. I, however, observed to Mr. Pendleton that the only chance for reviving was immediately to get him upon the water. So they lifted him and they carried him to the bank, where they aided in, putting him in the boat, which immediately set off. During this time, he could not discover any symptoms of life. He rubbed his face, his lips, his temples, and there was just nothing. There was just nothing. But Husick goes on to say Hamilton had revived after a few minutes, either from the hartshorn or fresh air. He finishes in the letter. Soon after recovering his sight, he happened to cast eye upon the case of the pistols, and observing the one that he had in his hand lying on the outside, he said, "Take care of the pistol. It is undischarged and still cocked. It may go off and do harm." So even while the guy is dying, he has the presence of mind to say, "Please take the pistol. It's cocked and it may go off. I don't want anyone else to get hurt." So, yes, said Mr. Pendleton, understanding his wish. "I already made Dr. Husick acquainted with your determination as to that." He then closed his eyes, remained calm, and without disposition to speak, he did not say much except to reply to my questions. He asked me once or twice how I found his pulse, and I informed him that his lower extremities had lost all feeling. Basically telling him he had no hopes to survive because the bullet ended up lodging in the vertebrae, and he lost feeling to all his extremities. So this ended up being a massive deal. Pendleton and Van Ness issued a press statement about the events of the duel, which pointed out the agreed upon dueling rules and events that transpired. It stated both participants were free to open fire once they had been given the order to present. After first fire had been given, the opponent second would count to 3, where he could fire or sacrifice a shot. Pendleton and Van Ness, they disagreed as to who fired the first shot, but they concur that both men had fired within a few seconds of each other. Pendleton amended his version of the statement, basically saying they ascertained that the ball passed through the limb of the cedar tree. That's the shot that Hamilton had, about 12 and a half feet perpendicularly from the ground. And General Hamilton, he did not want to kill Aaron Burr. So he even wrote a letter stating his intentions, where he was strongly opposed to the practice of dueling for both religious and practical reasons. "I have resolved," it continued, "if our interview is conducted in the usual manner and it pleases God to give me the opportunity to reserve and throw away my first fire, I have thoughts of even reserving my second fire." Hamilton regained consciousness after being shot, and like we said, he told him the gun was still loaded. So modern historians have debated to what extent Hamilton's statements and letter represent his true beliefs, and how much of this was a deliberate attempt to permanently ruin Burr. If Hamilton were killed, an example of this may be seen in what one historian has considered to be deliberate attempts to provoke Burr on the dueling ground. Hamilton performed a series of deliberately provocative actions to ensure a lethal outcome. As they were taking their places, he asked that the proceedings stop, adjusted his spectacles, and he slowly, repeatedly sighted along his pistol to test aim. So this to me, first of all, is ridiculousness.
Correct.
It blows my mind that this is what this was allowed to happen.
Right.
And it's not like 2 gang members doing it. No, these are two politicians esteemed politicians, a vice president.
Correct.
And Dave, wasn't Alexander Hamilton instrumental in was it the Declaration of Independence or the Constitution?
I mean, he was a big part of the American Revolution. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, he was part of the Revolutionary War.
I don't know. I mean, he was the one who created the central bank. You know, they had the play about him and all that stuff, and Hamilton, right? And
very, very popular play to this day.
Yeah,
and he was the Secretary of Treasury. So just
under George Washington, I think.
Yeah. Just to put a bow on this, there's evidence that Burr intended to kill Hamilton. The afternoon after the duel, he was quoted as saying
Burr hated Hamilton.
That he would have shot Hamilton in the heart had his vision not been impaired from the morning mist.
Amazing, right?
He just hated him. People called Burr, he was just a murderer, or a little better than a murderer. But people also say that the attacks on Burr pushed him to this. You know, he was attacked as vice president.
Yes.
He was attacked during running for governor of New York State. Alexander Hamilton sabotaged his gubernatorial run.
Right.
He lost.
Which he had a huge problem with.
Yeah. I mean, he severely affected this guy's life. And he may not have wanted to have a duel, but for Aaron Burr, I just lost the gubernatorial election of New York. This guy is writing letters to papers. He's hammering me every chance I get. It's the 1800s. We have a manner to settle disagreements, and it's duels. So I'm going to challenge this motherfucker to a duel. And then we'll see who's tough.
Isn't that amazing?
It is. It really is amazing to me because, again, this guy was a vice president. So,
right, you're not talking about some
guy off the street. I mean, right. Who was Bush's vice president?
Dan Quayle, maybe?
Not that one. The second Bush.
I thought it was Dan Quayle.
No. George Bush
Jr.
The junior.
Yeah, Dan Quayle.
Dick Cheney. That's what.
Yeah. Oh, Dan Quayle was.
Quayle was the first Bush was one. So it'd be like Dick Cheney. Dick Cheney challenging Chuck Schumer to a duel.
Yes.
You know, because they have been fiercely attacking each other.
And they don't
and
all that jazz.
But let me ask you this. In today's world, and you did say if duels were still around, crime would be down. But do you believe that people in government would use it, would take a chance on it?
Today's world, I don't know.
Do you think like Trump, because Trump's got balls of steel? Do you think Trump would ever challenge someone to a duel?
No, I can't see that. I can't see anybody today doing it.
Yeah, but I just can't believe it was accepted back then, and it was like for gentlemen. It was actually for gentlemen, and it was considered like prestigious. So they had his funeral in present-day Greenwich Village section of New York City. He had 20 friends and family members. He was buried in the Trinity Churchyard Cemetery in Manhattan. Hamilton was, now I don't know what this is, Dave, Episcopalian at the time of his death. Do you know what Episcopalian is?
Yes.
Religion? What does that mean?
Yeah. I don't know exactly, but
okay. But it's a religion.
Yes.
So then, there were many monuments and memorials for this. And this caused, in the months and years following the duel, a movement started to end the practice.
Well, it makes sense. Why would you want to lose government officials, right? I mean,
yeah, of course.
That wouldn't be a recipe for success in the long run for your country.
Elifant Knott, the pastor at an Albany church attended by Hamilton's father-in-law, Philip Schuyler, gave a sermon that was soon reprinted. A discourse delivered in the North Dutch Church in the city of Albany, occasioned by the ever to be lamented death of General Alexander Hamilton. And she delivered an anti-dueling sermon, and that is what started the end of it. So that's kind of how the dueling ended. That's basically how it ended. Like, there was because of this duel, it was so popular. I don't think they were that close to each other, but because of this duel, it was so popular that it caused the end of it. Because, like we said, these were two prestigious men of government, men who were involved in the Revolutionary War. Like, that's what amazes me, is Alexander Hamilton was part of the Revolutionary War, the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, all that survives, and he's killed in a duel. He makes it through the Revolutionary War.
Here's the recreation that, not that.
Oh, there is?
There is a recreation image, yeah.
I'd love to see it, because they said Hamilton wasted his first shot.
Well, it's not video, but there's an image.
Okay. I'd like to see it.
I'm trying to pull it up here.
Because it's amazing that he wasted his first shot, but the problem was the shot was just above Burr's head. So he interpreted it as, he's trying to kill me. So he fired his shot with the intention to kill Hamilton.
I mean, the recreation is kind of like...
Can you share it?
Yeah, I'm going to share it.
Okay.
Here's two that I found. Pretty close.
Oh, wow. I didn't know they were that close. So they were right about where the tree line was. So that's got to be
there's another one. It's close, dude.
Oh my God. So those are the parties that came with the group.
Right.
So they're like, I mean, that's got to be like 10 feet from each other? I mean, it's not far.
Seems pretty close.
So I'm asking.
Even if it's 20 feet, even if it's 20 feet, that's still pretty close.
Very. But I'm asking, in a duel, you start back to back, correct? And then you march 10 steps.
Yeah.
And then someone gives a command, and then you turn and then fire, I believe. That's kind of how it worked.
Yeah.
Wow. So that is close. And it's amazing that Hamilton allegedly wasted his shot. And Burr did not. Burr, came right at him. And wow, it's just sad. It's really sad that such a great man, a man who had tremendous influence and, really was part of the birth of our country. This is how he died. And this is a guy with family, a wife, kids, and a big part of the government. And this is how he died.
Every image shows the same thing. So
that is close.
They are close in everything.
So
look at every image. Every image is somewhat
Do you know how how the pistols worked back then? Did you have to manually load a bullet each time you shot?
Not sure.
I think you did, right? So you would have to load, and they were round freaking metal.
Look at this one, 1804. Show you this one. This one's wild.
And the people watching, my God. Do you know where this is in Jersey?
Yeah. It's
wow.
Right next to Hoboken. I mean, they are close. Every image is somewhat similar, right?
They are really close. So they must not have marched very far, and then they turned. So it makes sense to me now. They're close, and Hamilton intended to waste his shot, but since they're so close, he fired above Burr's head, and it was close enough for Burr to believe, wow, he's trying to kill me, and that's why Burr obviously took a shot to take out Hamilton.
That's amazing too, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing that that was a practice back then for guys. I mean, the guys who were badasses would take their first shot and fire it into the ground and dare the other guy to shoot them, and then they would reload and shoot. But Burr purposely missed because he didn't want this, but he felt he had no way out because of everything he did and everything he said. He felt that there was no forgiveness to be given. He couldn't apologize. Nothing he could say or do would make things right for the torment that he gave to Aaron Burr's life.
Amazing.
Do you know, I'm just curious, do you know the history of Aaron Burr after this? What he ended up doing?
I think he ended up.
Because I mean, I don't know if he was still part of the government or not. That was my question.
Let's see. I thought maybe he was killed or something.
So he died in 1886.
Yeah, the duel with Hamilton effectively ended Burr's political career.
Oh, wow.
Widely viewed as a murderer.
Yes.
Public
I read
image
that.
was irreparably tarnished. Burr faced murder charges in New York and New Jersey following the duel.
Oh, my God, he did?
Yes, but was not convicted. In 1807, he was tried for treason in connection with an alleged plot to create an independent nation in the West, possibly involving Louisiana Territory and Spanish America.
Holy crap.
Burr's involvement in the scheme known as Burr's conspiracy further damaged his reputation, although he was ultimately acquitted of treason. Following the treason trial, Burr fled to Europe and remained there for several years.
Yes, it said that. He exiled.
He eventually returned to the United States and resumed his law practice.
Oh, so he was an attorney.
Burr's later years were marked by a failed marriage to Eliza Jumel.
I see that. A wealthy widow who was 19 years younger than him.
Who hired Alexander Hamilton Jr. to sue for divorce. which was finalized on the same day Burr died in 1836.
He had a stroke. Oh my God.
So among the betrayals, she hired Alexander Hamilton.
Yeah. Well, it also says that after they got married, the wife, Jumel, realized her fortune was dwindling due to Burr's land speculation losses. And she separated from him only after 4 months of marriage. So he like was plotting and scheming all the time to do stuff. I mean, he married this woman 19 years younger than him who was wealthy and drained her money, spending it on land. They separated. They were going to get divorced, and Burr had a stroke.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So she had hired Alexander
Hamilton Jr.
and her first divorce, divorce to Stephen Jumel.
Oh, okay.
Aaron Burr married her in 1833.
33, right.
She divorced him on his deathbed in 1836.
Yes. After the stroke.
She doesn't look like she was much of a looker. But
I see the picture. Yes.
But back then, who knows? You know, I mean, who knows it's accurate or not? You know.
So and Burr had.
She definitely doesn't look like much of a. She also
owns. She doesn't.
She was. Interesting.
Wow, he had a lot of kids too.
Aaron Burr.
Yeah.
How about this? She died at 90. As symptoms of dementia took toll on Jumel's memory and behavior, stories about her eccentricity spread through New York and Saratoga Springs.
No.
Stories of the 1880s suggest that Eliza may have become a regular target of mockery. That's where she lived, in Saratoga Springs.
Oh my God! I think I knew that.
Jumel remained at her Manhattan mansion for the last 6 years of her life. So obviously she was from
upstate.
It says she was born in Providence, Rhode Island.
Okay.
She must have.
Wow. I swear to God, I remember hearing that name. I did business with the Saratoga museum.
Okay.
And I swear I remember this name. That she would frequent this. There was a casino where the museum was.
Okay.
And I believe that she frequented it. She was there often, and she would come up there and she would gamble. I swear I remember that, but I'll have to check. But it's amazing. It says that Burr fathered 3 children. He adopted 2 sons, and he was the parent to 2 stepsons by his wife's first marriage. And he also has many unacknowledged children.
Wow.
Yeah. It said he may have had an part African American kid. Yeah. So there's 1, 2, 3 other unacknowledged children that were most likely his kids, but he never acknowledged the relationship with them. So just the last thing I will read, it talks about
very interesting story.
When you brought this up, like I didn't know anything about it.
Okay.
I knew about the duel, but I never knew the backstory. I didn't know how any of this happened. I didn't know that there was so much contention between Burr and Hamilton. So it's shocking to me. But it does say Burr was a man of complex character who made many friends, but he also had powerful enemies. I can't believe he was indicted. It says that he was indicted for murder after the death of Hamilton, but he was never prosecuted. He was reported by acquaintances to be curiously unmoved by Hamilton's death, expressing no regret for his role in the result. And then he was arrested and prosecuted for treason by President Jefferson, but he was acquitted. But Burr was exiled after that, and that's why he went to Europe. And in his later years in New York, Burr provided money and education for several children, some of which were his, to his friends and family, and to often strangers. He was kind and generous. Jane Fairfield, the wife of a struggling poet, recorded in her autobiography in the 1820s, their friend Burr, he pawned his watch to provide care for Fairfield's two children. So that's, I mean, he really was a complex man. I mean, he really was.
Well, that's evident. Yeah.
He maybe he was bipolar. I don't know. But now, how about this? Burr was considered a notorious womanizer. In addition to cultivating relationships with women in his social circles, his journals indicate he was a frequent patron of prostitutes during his travels in Europe. He recorded brief notes of dozens of such encounters and the amounts he paid. He described, listen to this, he described sexual release as the only remedy for his restlessness and irritability. Wow. So he was a known womanizer.
Known womanizer.
Yeah. But you're absolutely right. After the Hamilton murder, he became a pariah. I mean, that was it for him. For his legacy, he's obviously remembered for the duel with Hamilton. His establishment of guides and rules for the first impeachment trial set a high bar for behavior and procedures in the Senate chamber, many of which are followed today. So there are several historians seeking to explain Burr's negative image in modern times, wrote that his portrayal as a villain is actually the result of a smear campaign invented by his political enemies centuries ago and disseminated in newspapers, pamphlets, and personal letters during and after his lifetime. So it's like something that could happen to Trump like 100 years from now.
Yeah,
Trump would be considered a villain because of a smear campaign, because of MSNBC. You know, they just bash him.
Yeah.
And they say, oh, he's a convicted felon. He's this and that.
Yeah.
Because you know, we have more, obviously, technology and news now, but the news is often slanted and not accurate. So think of all the things that have been said about Trump.
It shows you that it's been going on forever, right?
It has. It has. It's crazy to think that they had a smear campaign for this guy.
Yeah.
And there wasn't TV or radio back then. They did it through newspapers, pamphlets, and letters, and through word of mouth.
They didn't need anything crazy.
That is crazy. It is absolutely crazy. So the lasting consequence of Burr's role in the 1800 election was the 12th Amendment to the Constitution, which changed how vice presidents were chosen. As was evident from the 1800 election, the situation could quickly arise where the vice president, as the defeated presidential candidate, could not work well with the president. So the 12th Amendment required that electoral votes be cast separately for president and vice president. I don't believe that's true, though. They only cast electoral votes for the president now. Correct? There's no electoral. Yeah. But they choose their running mate. So what a story. When you chose this, I was like, well, what is this? What I knew about the duel. I did not know about the history between Hamilton and Burr.
Yeah.
I did not know. I had no idea that Burr was a vice president. I had no idea he ran for governor. I knew Alexander Hamilton is remembered very, very fondly, like as one of the founders of the nation. And Burr's reputation, he's remembered very, very poorly. And it appears that that's not accurate.
Yes.
It appears that it was because of a smear campaign. And that makes me wonder, 100 years from now, people go back on the internet or MSNBC, ABC, and they read all this stuff or watch the stuff about Trump. When Trump's Wikipedia page comes out after he dies 100 years from now, is that what it's going to say about him? Is he going to be a hooligan? Is he going to be a racist? Is he going to be a misogynist?
You're right. It's crazy.
So I didn't know. Do you want to do Rebel tonight when you get back?
Yeah.
So if I go to Frank's and you'll be good at like 9:30?
Absolutely.
Okay. We'll plan on that. Well, I still can't believe how close they were in those pictures.
I know. Mind blowing. Like point blank range.
You're right there. You're right fucking there. And I'm going to, after we get off, I'm going to look it up because I just want to know how long dueling was practiced for.
Obviously, it's an old time thing, but
yeah. I wonder if they did it for 100 years. Like if dueling was, it said it was illegal in New York, New Jersey, but obviously it was done. I'm just curious for how long it carried on for.
Right.
But obviously this is what stopped it. So you did everything work out
what
with the doctor?
I didn't go.
Oh, you didn't? Okay. And your cough is gone.
Yes, it's a little bit still, a little bit there, almost completely gone. Maybe I had some sort of virus or something.
You had a virus, yeah.
Yeah, it just took a long time to get.
How were the first practices with the kids?
Oh, good. Good. I mean,
really,
we have some kids that they have a ways to go, but
it's 10U or 11U now?
10U.
Okay, so it's 10U.
Well, we're good. We're good. We'll get there. We got some really good skill kids. We got some.
Is Troy gonna play quarterback majority of the time?
Yeah, he's playing quarterback.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
trying to get him to be a better tackler.
He plays both ways?
He plays safety, yeah.
Oh, wow. Do you have to play a set defense like a 52 or a 53?
No. Play whatever
You
you
can play
want.
whatever you want. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this was a great episode.
Great episode.
I'm very happy. So we will talk tonight. I'll give Frank a call. I'll get up there and get ready to go. And just create the stream. I'll get it loaded. And this has been an incredible. Yeah, it was hilarious. I did like 15 minutes with you sleeping.
Yeah, I don't know how you did that.
Dude, do you know that I sang to you 3 songs trying to wake you up?
My volume was off because I
Oh,
was sitting there and I was just going to wait for a few minutes until you got there to close my eyes. And I forgot my volume was off on my computer. So you could have said whatever. I wouldn't have heard you.
I was singing. Yeah. I sang 3 songs.
What's funny is I'm leaving my volume on from now on if I do that, because obviously as soon as I heard you, I would have woke up.
So the only way that you got on, you actually woke up. It wasn't from me talking.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I called you too.
Yeah.
And I left you a message, but I didn't start recording then. I started recording after, and I think I did it for 10 minutes with you sleeping.
Yeah.
But it's funny. Yeah. It'll be some good clips.
Yeah, it'll be good.
All right. You're not mad at me for doing that?
No.
Are you mad at me for doing that?
I have to watch it. It probably looks bad.
No, it doesn't look bad. You cut it out if it looks bad. I didn't say anything about you. I didn't say anything. I was just doing the story. All right. Well, get some rest. Have fun at practice tonight. And everyone's waiting for the return of Frank Cristiano.
Yes.
On Rebel Republic. So for Coach Schumann, he's saying yes to greatness. This has been Bloodlines and Betrayal, the story of Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr. I'm Steve Cully, the best podcast host in the universe. Remember, when life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Take 2 oranges and make sure your shot goes good.